Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Gerald Mohr, starring in The Adventures of Philip Marlowe from 73 years ago, September 10th, 1949, and the Rustin Hickory. And we thank you for tuning in. On this Saturday, this is the 10th day of September, 253rd day of the year, 112 days remaining. Nathan Hale volunteered to spy during the American Revolutionary War. On this date in 1776, the U.S. defeated the British fleet at the Battle of Lake Erie during the War of 1812. Elias Howe got a patent for the sewing machine on this date in 1846, and in 1939, Canada declared war on Nazi Germany, joining France, the UK, New Zealand, and Australia in the Allies. It'd be another 2 years before America officially entered the war. In 1963, 20 black students entered public schools in Birmingham, Mobile, and Tuskegee, Alabama, after President Kennedy sent National Guardsmen to end the standoff with Alabama Governor George Wallace.
I would think you'd be concerned that the football team at Tuskegee, after the activities of the governor over the period of the last 10 days, football team last night voted to discontinue football because there happens to be some Negroes going to the high school. How are we bringing up our children, Senator, if there's not going to be some leadership and help and assistance from somebody such as yourself? I mean, I think you have a responsibility.
And while many people believed in the forward-looking integration plan of the president, some folks, including politicians, steadfastly refused to integrate.
The general reaction among the people, the masses of people, have been good, of course, among some preachers and newspaper editors and folks in ivory towers and some few people who were frustrated and ready to give up, of course. They just said, well, what can you do? But the people of this state do not like integration of the races in the public school system.
And to those people who insist that America is evil and racist, I want you to remember that our nation ended a lot of integration 60 years ago. And we have to remember how bad it was. It is nowhere near as bad today. At his residence in Afghanistan on this date in 1987, Osama bin Laden launched Al-Qaeda. Switzerland, known for its neutrality, joined the United Nations in 2002. Anna Lindh, the foreign minister of Sweden, stabbed fatally on this date in 2003 while shopping. She would die of her injuries the next day. And in 2017, Hurricane Irma made landfall on Cujo Key in Florida, a Category 4 hurricane, after causing catastrophic damage throughout the Caribbean, resulting in $64.76 billion in damage. Passing away on this date in history, assassinated politician Huey Law, also Cisco Kid actor Leo Carrillo, Jack Adkisson, Fritz Von Erich in the pro wrestling world, Clarence Gatemouth Brown passing away on this date, Jane Wyman, Cliff Robertson, and from The Spy Who Loved Me and The Longest Yard and Happy Gilmore, the big tall guy, Richard Keel. And passing away 2 years ago today, the 1960s British spy series The Avengers actress Diana Rigg. This is the birth date of Henry Purcell, actor Edmund O'Brien, the Peruvian songbird Ima Sumac, also golfer Arnold Palmer, and the man who now is forever on the road, Charles Kuralt. This is the birth date of Eldridge Coleman. Of course, he's best remembered as superstar Billy Graham. The pro wrestler turns 80 today. Puerto Rican singer Jose Feliciano. Come on, baby, light my fire. Also, another pro wrestler, Don Morocco. Interestingly enough, Graham, superstar Billy Graham, managed Don Morocco in 1987 and 1988. Morocco's 73 today. Also turning 73 is Bill O'Reilly, who airs on a number of these radio stations daily. Aerosmith's Joe Perry is 72. Actress Amy Irving is 69. Actor Colin Firth is 62. From Cruel Intentions and MacGruber, Ryan Phillippe is 48. And the NWA heavyweight champion, at least as of the time of recording, Trevor Murdoch, a disciple and a student of Harley Race, 41 years old today. Those are just a number of people celebrating the 10th day of September as their birthday. If this is your birthday,
hi, we're the Four Freshmen, and we just want to say happy birthday to you.
From 73 years ago today, September 10th, 1949, Gerald Mohr in The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. I'm Wyatt Cox, and this is Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, our Saturday edition here on your favorite radio station.
You know, it's true. Difficult times have a way of focusing us. We have to think about what matters most when it comes to our spending, our health care. No doubt. This is why so many people are joining Medishare right now. Medishare is a trusted way to save up to 50% on your monthly healthcare costs. More than 400,000 people have already made the switch. It's pretty obvious why, too, especially now during this challenging season with healthcare costs and out-of-pocket expenses going up. Medishare can save you a lot of money. The typical family saves $500 a month. And Medishare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that's worked beautifully for 29 years. There are different options to choose from to fit your budget. I'll give you the number here in a second, and if you call, you can get a price within 2 minutes. Maybe now is the perfect time to make the switch and start saving. Here you go. Call 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
Mike Lindell and MyPillow offering the BOGO extravaganza right now on a whole slew of MyPillow products. Now you can find all sorts of great deals on MyPillow bed sheets, Giza Elegance MyPillow, 6-piece towel sets, Roll and Go Anywhere pillows, much more, all priced buy one, get one free. Go to mypillow.com/USA, use promo code USA, or call 1-800-951-8175 and find you some great MyPillow products. They're all available. Oh, by the way, you can also get Mike's book absolutely free with any purchase, but you have to go to mypillow.com/USA or call 1-800-951-8175 and make sure you use the promo code, the buy one, get one extravaganza, going on right now at mypillow.com.
Whether you're taking your pets on the road or a walk around the block, you need to be aware of heat stroke. Hi, I am Dr. Jose Arce, immediate past president of the American Veterinary Medical Association. It's important that pets get out and enjoy the warm weather and fresh air, but here are some reminders to help keep your pets safe in the heat. Tune into the day's forecast to see how hot it will be. Limit exercise on hot days or schedule walks earlier or later on the day when it's cooler. If outside, stay on the grass instead of the hot pavement. Make sure your pet has unlimited fresh water and access to shade. Never leave your pet in a closed vehicle, and leave your pet at home in air conditioning when you go out. If you see signs of heat strokes in your pet, such as excessive panting, drooling, unsteadiness, or abnormal gum and tongue color, call your veterinarian or nearest emergency clinic. For more info on summer pet safety, visit avma.org. That's avma.org.
Now on Saturday's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox from 73 years ago, September 10th, 1949, Gerald Mohr, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe.
Get this and get it straight. Crime is a sucker's road, and those who travel it wind up in the gut of the prison or the grave. The lady tourist was a school teacher out after glamour, and she got it. But only after she learned that in Hollywood the 3 R's could be reading done in a dark room, writing found in a dead man's pocket, and arithmetic that added up to murder times 2.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of crime fiction, comes his most famous character in The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. Now, with Gerald Mohr starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's transcribed story, The Rustin Hickory.
It was hot in my apartment, even at 10 o'clock at night. The sultry wind blowing through curtains at the far side of the room didn't help a bit. It was the kind of night that made me wish I was something else, a butcher, baker, candlestick maker, anything. After a long, hot day spent in the downtown courts of law, listening to the petty arguments of a petty larceny case, I was tired of petty people. The paper I had picked up on my way home wasn't helping any. 10 killed in an air crash. Mental cruelty, says local songbird. I made myself another highball, lots of ice, easy with water, and picked up the paper again. It was still more of the same. Cy Nestor killed in office on Sunset Strip. Cy Nestor. He'd hit the papers before. Bookie, B- picture producer, general racketeer. Somehow I wasn't too surprised he was on the receiving end for a change. My drink was good for 10 more pages of equally dull reading, and I was set for the next in line when the phone rang.
Mr. Philip Marlowe?
It was the first attractive voice I'd heard all day.
Mr. Marlowe?
And you know, I thought she might be fun.
My name is Joan Rustin, and I'm only here in Hollywood from Ferndale, Nebraska on a vacation, and I wanted to have some fun. You know, see the nightclubs and the stars
hey.
and that sort of thing.
Hey, wait a minute,
I
Joan.
didn't want trouble, Mr. Marlowe,
hold
at
it.
least of all.
Teacher, hey.
Yes?
Let's back up a little, huh? Your name is Joan Rustin. You're from Ferndale, Nebraska, which you're right, I've never heard of. Also, you're a school teacher. That much I got. But the rest about the sights, the last part, the trouble
Oh, but don't you see? They're the one and the same.
Oh?
I wanted to step out. Nightclubs, movie stars, glamour. But it didn't end up like that because he was shot, and then I didn't know what to do. And his name's Aubrey Nickel. He's the man who took me out to show me the club. Anyhow, after it happened, I ran.
Why?
Why? The publicity, of course. Mr. Marlowe, I'd lose my job. You see, I'm a school teacher.
Yeah, you said that, honey. Now, look, where are you, Joan?
The Tulip Room. It's a bar on Sunset and La Cienega Boulevard. You'll come right over, huh? Huh?
Yeah, I'll come right over, huh? Goodbye, Joan.
Hey, Mr. Marlowe.
Yeah, but where are you?
Over here in this booth. Hurry.
Okay, hurry it is. Hello. Now tell me why all the secrecy and you...
And what? Oh, what are you staring at?
You. I expected braids, Joan. Horn rims, calico, maybe. Not ice blue satin, drape plunging, and,
Yes?
Yes. Start at the top, honey, and slow this time, huh?
Well, yesterday I met this man, this Aubrey Nickel I mentioned. Oh, he's really nice, Mr. Marlowe. He's a photographer, has a darling place up on the Sunset,
Sunset Strip. You went there to have your picture taken?
I wanted something glamorous.
That's easy.
And look here what I got. Oh, by the way, I ordered a drink for you, a Scotch drink. Here. You like Scotch drinks, don't you?
Yeah, Scotch drinks are my favorite drinks, Joan, thanks.
You're welcome. Now, isn't it wonderful? The picture, I mean.
I'll say it is. I'd never say school teacher.
No, that's the idea. Just like a model in a fashion magazine, isn't it? Aubrey took it from inside his photo shop while I was outside on the street looking in his window. You know, like a smart career girl just strolling along the avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And see how he faded out the background? That way I'm the focal center.
Focal center.
Isn't it nice?
Oh, yes, it is, yeah. But look, Joan, the rest of the story. Now, the man was shot. You don't want publicity, remember?
Oh, yes, of course. Well, we made a date, Mr. Marlowe, for tonight. I was to be at his place, his shop on the Strip at 8, which I was. But when I got there...
He was gone.
Well, no. He might just as well have been for all the attention he paid to me.
Oh?
He had something on his mind. Acted as though he didn't even expect me. Why, I had to mention this picture here twice before he got it out of a drawer for me. But then, just like that, he changed. Said if I wanted glamour and nightclubs, why not?
Oh, by all means, why not?
And off we went to Cyrano's, no less, and sat at a table with 2 men and a woman who was actually Irmgard Fury.
Actually, who?
Irmgard Fury, the starlet.
Oh.
Don't you read the papers? Oh, golly, her picture's been in every theater section and magazine for the last 6 months. Of course, she hasn't made a movie yet, but she probably will.
Wait a minute. Irmgard Fury, she has red hair, a figure, lots of each, huh?
That's right. Oh, and so sweet to talk to. Well, believe it or not, when we were in the powder room and she couldn't find her lipstick, she used mine.
Now, that's really democratic. Look, Joan, there was a shooting. You remember that. Now, you were sitting at a table with 3 men and this Irmgard Fury?
That's right.
Well, go on. What happened next?
Well, when Miss Fury and I got back to the table, Mr. Lacey and his friend were gone. And then a minute later, Aubrey excused himself to make a phone call.
And then?
And then a waiter brought me a note from Aubrey which said I should go back to my hotel and wait there till I heard from him. Then it happened.
Look, Joan, if I'm going to help you on this, you got to tell the whole coherent story.
Well, suddenly there were some shots, maybe from outside, and people were yelling. It was terrible. I was scared to death, and I ran outside. People were crowded around someone. It was Aubrey. He was dead.
What'd you do then?
I took the first taxi I could get to my hotel, the Beverly Crest. I started from my bungalow, but didn't go inside because there was a man hanging around. I'd seen him before someplace, and I didn't like his looks and turned away, and he called to me. Oh, he was awful, Mr. Marlowe.
Awful looking like a frog, maybe? Sloping shoulders, bulging eyes?
Yes, and when... Mr. Marlowe, how do you know what he looked like?
Promise not to tell.
Promise not to... Oh, Mr. Marlowe, he's here, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Been watching us for quite a while.
Oh, holy smokes, then I didn't get away from him. Oh, Mr. Marlowe, I had nothing to do with his shooting. What can I do? I simply can't be mixed up in this terrible business. Oh, please, Mr. Marlowe, I'll pay you anything, only get me out of this, please.
We'll talk about that later, Joni. Now, look, when we get up, keep talking and don't look away from me. Then when we're outside and around the taxi stand there, duck away from me fast and get in close to the building and stay there till the frogman is gone. Then head for your hotel bungalow and wait there till you hear from me. Now, you got that?
Oh, yes, but I don't understand why he's going to leave us.
You will, if our little coup works. Come on. It played easier than I'd expected because, like a good shadow, the frogman gave us a small head start, which was all I needed. The second Joan darted away from me, I moved quickly up to the first cab in line, opened and slammed the rear door fast, said goodbye out loud to Joan, who was not in the back seat, then slipped the driver 5, winked hard, and practically shouted a very far-away address at him. When he lurched from the curb, I stood there and waved a minute. It was what was still supposed to be Joan. Then, even as I saw the frogman dart across the street, pile into his own car and take off after the cab, I walked slowly back into the bar where I had another Scotch drink and did some fast checking on the current location of Aubrey Nichols, which was the Dawson Memorial Hospital. Then I started outside for my car after stopping en route at the booth where Joan and I had been sitting to pick up a pair of gloves and glamour portrait my new little client had left on the seat. The school mom had been upset indeed.
Dawson Memorial Hospital, Dr. Chambers? Yes, one moment, please. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
Oh, I want to know the condition of a patient who was brought in here a little while ago, Mr. Aubrey Nichol.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. We're not allowed to give out such information. You'll have to inquire at the superintendent's office. Third door
I
on
wouldn't bother, Phil.
Well, Detective Lieutenant Matthews, good evening.
Good evening. Nichol is dead, Marlowe. We
Oh?
did not get a statement from him.
That's too bad. Any idea who did it?
No? Have you?
I didn't even know him. A client of mine.
Yeah, Mr. Smith?
That's right. That's remarkable. Mr. Smith, he asked me to inquire about his condition.
Uh-huh. Well, it happened about an hour ago in an alley behind Cyrano's. Aubrey Nichol was a photographer up on the strip, but pretty much of a phony. A big front boy, strictly.
That's all there was to it, huh?
Walk down here with me a little.
Oh, sure.
We figure there may be some connection between this shooting and Cy Nestor's death this afternoon. Nestor also had an office on the strip.
What do you figure the tie-in is, Matthew?
A man named Ham Lacey. You ever hear of him?
Yeah, he was one of Nestor's #1 boys in the racket, right?
Yeah, something like that. Of course, officially, Ham Lacey is known as the vice president of Nestor Enterprises Incorporated. Also production manager of that second-rate movie studio Nestor owned. Well, anyway, Lacey, another man, and Aubrey Nichol were at Cyrano's tonight with a starlet named Irmgard Fury, and another gal we haven't been able to tag yet. Now, tell me,
Wait a minute,
Phil, it's
Lieutenant.
quite-
When Nestor
what?
was killed, did it look like the usual mob tactics?
No. Nestor was beat up by fists. Not sapped, not cut up with brass knucks.
Oh.
Your death was caused by a blow to the temple from a poker that was standing next to a phony fireplace in which he could have hit his head when he fell.
Well, it's probably not Lacey and Associates, huh?
Probably not. He's got an alibi.
Yeah?
Besides, we already got a fair line on who did it and why. We found a note in Nestor's pocket signed D. Tobin, which threatened Nestor with a beating if he didn't stay away from the undersigned's wife and send her back home at once. Nestor, you may or may not happen to know, had this Irmgard Fury or something under contract to him, saw lots of her. So, again, the two deaths more or less tie together.
Yeah, you've already talked to, oh, by the way, her name is Irmgard Fury.
No, I ain't talked to her. I figured I'd wait till I knew a little more. Also, I didn't figure Nichol would die without saying anything.
No.
Oh. Well, now it's your turn. We found this negative in the alley near Nichol's body. This is a night shot of the Sunset Strip and nothing more. Means anything to you?
No, why should it? Now, look, I told you before, Lieutenant, I never even met Nichol.
Yeah, and I listened, didn't I?
I noticed.
Yeah, but now let's level a bit, huh, Phil? Who your client is and what he or she has to do with this is one thing as long as we're both on the same side. But playing dumb when it might count is quite another. Now, once more, Phil, huh? The picture?
Still 0, Lieutenant. Honor bright. Anything else?
Yeah, just to save you a little time, Phil.
Yeah, let's do.
Irmgard Fury's address, 441 West Bedford Drive, Beverly Hills. You got a pencil?
441 West Bedford Drive.
Now, play it close. Be sure to call when you think it's time. And if you're wondering about why all this help from me, try this. What you know and won't tell, plus what I know and will tell, might do the trick. Say goodbye to me, Phil.
Goodbye.
Yes?
Miss Fury, my name's Philip Marlowe. I must talk to you at once.
About what?
Your husband, I'm a friend of his, and he asked me to get in touch with you. It's because of what happened this afternoon up on the Strip.
Oh. Well, what's wrong? Is Dave here in town?
Yeah, he is, and he's in trouble. You see, the police are after him,
All right, hold it, mister. You've said enough.
Huh?
What are you, cop or reporter?
Oh, now, wait a minute, Miss Fury. I've already told you I'm a friend of Dave's.
Whose name happens to be Douglas. Mr. Douglas Tobin. Keep that in mind when you try this next time. Good night.
Not so fast, baby. The mistake was mine, but I still want to talk to you.
So do a lot of men.
I'll bet.
Now beat it before...
Irmgard?
Before I forget myself.
What's the trouble, Irmgard?
Oh, no trouble, Hamilton, darling. This gentleman was just leaving. He had the wrong address. He made a mistake. Didn't you, Mr. Marlowe?
Yes, a blunder. 1,000 apologies, and good night, Mrs. Tobin. For what it was worth, it worked. At the mention of the name Tobin, Ham Lacey spun around like he was built on a pivot, and his eyes that were narrow slits with all the come-hither look of a cobra's never left me. As I slowly walked away from him and past the yellow convertible he'd just driven up in. License number 6969X, California. And on out to the street. All of which only meant that Lieutenant Matthews was probably right about there being some connection between Cy Nestor's murder and the death of Aubrey Nickel. When I opened the door of my car and started to climb in under the wheel, the voice in the night helped not at all.
If you don't do as I say, I'll kill you.
Okay.
Knock it out.
Take it easy.
All right. Now close the door and turn around. You're back to me.
Now, look, if this is a stick-up, Busty, you can save us both a lot of time.
Shut up. I'm not a hold-up man. Now, move over there, close to those trees. Go on. I want to ask you a question. All right, that's far enough. Now, what have you got to do with Helen?
Helen who?
Helen Irmgard Fury. That's what she's known as now. What have you got to do with her? Tell me.
Very little, Mr. Tobin.
You know who I am?
And so do the police. Why don't you call it quits while you're still in one piece?
No, not quits. That's what you want, what all of you want. Me arrested and out of the way in jail and maybe out of the way for good. No. But that won't be. Helen's mine and you're not going to harm her.
Careful, Tobin, you're getting excited.
Yes, excited enough for this. Go!
In just a moment, the second act of Philip Marlowe. But first,
we'll hear the news from this Saturday 73 years ago. But first, some messages from your favorite radio station. The Adventures of Philip Marlowe from Saturday, September 10th, 1949 is what you're listening to on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Back in a moment.
America's Protestants, Catholics, and Jews are strengthening the bonds of brotherhood and friendship by helping the needy overseas. Through their houses of worship, these three faiths are sending voluntary relief to virtually every free country in the world. Hundreds of millions of pounds of goods, clothing, and medicine will go to victims of war, disaster, and famine in many parts of the world. More than 80% of American voluntary relief work for the hungry and needy overseas is conducted through the religious agencies of these three major faith groups. When you share with needy persons overseas through your house of worship, you are promoting the spirit of democracy that unites all peoples for peace and goodwill. You are keeping faith with the finest tradition and heritage of America. CBS Radio urges you to keep faith with those in need overseas by giving as much as you can through your faith.
People in free countries abroad, no matter what their current image of our nation may be, are curious to know more about America and Americans. The printing presses of the Soviet Union are working at full speed to make sure that the picture they get of the United States is a slanderous one, a distorted view of our nation and its citizens. The range of books distributed by the communists throughout the free world is enormous, and their sheer volume staggering. There is something you can do as an individual to make sure that students and interested readers are able to learn the truth about us through a program called Books from America. Take a look at your bookshelves. If you have American literary classics, recent American histories or geographies, modern English grammars and language study texts, these in good condition and hard-bound, you can help combat communist propaganda. Mail them to Books from America, Box 1960, Washington 13, D.C. That's Books from America, Box 1960, Washington 13, D.C.
If you're of teenage or up, a loyal American, male or female, your country needs you in the Civilian Ground Observer Corps. You've heard the radio broadcasts, seen the television pictures. You know the facts. You know what a single H-bomb dropped in any metropolitan area could do. And today's long-range bombers have made intercontinental war possible. Enemy planes based on the other side of the world could reach the United States in a matter of hours. Radar can help detect them, but there are dangerous gaps through which low-flying planes can penetrate without detection. To fill out our detection system, civilian personnel is needed, particularly along the east and west coasts and in the northern states. Sky watching is not a game, it's a necessary precaution. The Ground Observer Corps is now operating on a 24-hour-a-day basis and needs at least 200,000 volunteers to contribute a few hours of their spare time to this vital work. Will you volunteer? Get in touch with your local Civilian Defense Center at once.
Thanks for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox here on your favorite station. We're listening to an episode of The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Gerald Mohr, as it was broadcast on Saturday, September 10th, 1949. In the newspapers of that Saturday, 73 years ago, these were some of the headlines. A Canadian Pacific Airlines plane crashed on a rocky bluff near Saint-Cochon, Quebec. Killed all 23 persons aboard, including 3 top figures of the Kennecott Copper Corporation, Kennecott's president, E.D. Stannard, vice president R.J. Parker, and president-designate Arthur T. Stork were among the victims. The plane struck a rocky bluff that rises several hundred feet above the north shore of the St. Lawrence River, about 40 miles east of Quebec City. The 19 passengers and crew of 4 died instantly. Operating employees of the Missouri Pacific Railroad went on strike yesterday. Service on the big railroad already was at a virtual standstill, with almost all its trains halted earlier in the day to avoid last-minute confusion. The few trains still rolled when the strike deadline passed, continuing on to their terminals with consent of union officials. 5,000 engineers, firemen, conductors, and other trainmen left their jobs in a dispute over interpretation of operating rules. Governor Thomas E. Dewey said last night that conditions at the strike-bound Bell Aircraft Corporation plant had definitely improved and state intervention was unnecessary. The governor's statement came after a lengthy conference with 5 law enforcement officials from Niagara and Erie counties who flew to the state capital at Albany to report on repeated outbreaks of violence which caused injuries to 30 people. Left-wingers plan to run Paul Robeson for U.S. Senate on the ALP ticket in an attempt to split the liberal vote in New York State and defeat Democrat candidate Herbert H. Lehman. Michael Quill, president of the International Workers Union, charged yesterday. Quill made the charge in a speech before the 10th annual CIO convention, in which he endorsed William O. Dwyer for re-election as mayor of New York City. Authorities last night called off a brush-beating manhunt for a Negro accused of shooting and slightly wounding his white employer. They said the posse got too big. Instead, they planted a few deputy sheriffs near the home of the Negro, Willie Faust, about 50, who was accused of shooting W. Barney Dempsey, 45-year-old dairyman. Dempsey did not require medical aid. Sent home were state constables, several Orangeburg, South Carolina policemen, a dozen highway patrols, and many carloads of armed civilians who tried unsuccessfully to trap the Negro in a swamp near here. Senator Taft, the Republican of Ohio, declared in the Senate yesterday the reciprocal trade agreements bill, as passed by the House, would give President Truman the power to destroy American industry. Already, he said, the oil, wool, pottery, glass, watchmaking, and bicycle industries have sustained damage under the now expired law, under which the president negotiated mutual tariff cuts with other countries. With developments in the bill and debate on the bill in the third day, these developments, Senator Thomas, the Democrat of Oklahoma, offered an amendment to limit imports of foreign oil to 5% of the domestic U.S. demand. Senator Butler, Republican of Nebraska, charging the State Department is sabotaging the Agriculture Department's price support program by advocating lower tariffs on farm products. Goosebumps rose high last night on the skins of 52 beautiful girls in the Miss America pageant in Atlantic City. Suppressed stage fright caused the bumps. Last night, the last of 3 preliminary contests, the bumps went on a rampage. Each girl knew it was her last chance to qualify for tonight's final. Only 15 of the 52 will be chosen. Their names will be announced after the curtain rises for the closing performance of the pageant tonight. From the 15 girls, a panel of 11 judges will select 5 girls as the leading candidates for the Miss America title. By midnight, one of them will be named Miss America. And those some of the day's top news stories as reported in the newspapers of Saturday, September 10th, 1949. On your radio, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. And we'll hear the conclusion in just a few moments here on this Saturday. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.
It's a big, bold story set in the heartland of America, along the edge of Lonely Mountain. I am open for business. And so Big William Gorgon, played by handsome Michael James, fiercely set down his Midwest roots.
Oh, darling, we're going to sell bathrobes and raise chickens.
Set his adoring wife, Wilhelmina, portrayed by beautiful Glenda Olsen.
Oh, I love our store, Will.
But they hadn't counted on Big Ralph's bathrobes and cattle store coming to town.
Oh, Will, what will we do, Will?
Will had a plan, a way of facing off against tough Big Ralph. We're going to change the face of America. We're going to advertise.
For what?
With print, broadcasting, and bus benches, we're going to tell people who we are and where we are.
What's a bus?
And so the story of how one man brought advertising to the heartland.
Oh, will it work?
It will. Well, my name ain't Will, Wilhelmina. You got to advertise or we'll die. And so the greatest marketing story of all time is here. Advertise or die, dopey.
Put your message on this national advertising platform. Email classicradiotheater@gmail.com. classicradiotheater@gmail.com.
Radio? Why should I advertise on radio? There's nothing to look at, no pictures.
Listen, you can do things on radio you couldn't possibly do on TV.
That'll be the day.
All right, watch this. Okay, people, and now when I give you the cue, I want the 700-foot mountain of whipped cream to roll into Lake Michigan, which has been drained and filled with hot chocolate. Then the Royal Canadian Air Force will fly overhead towing a 10-ton maraschino cherry, which will be dropped into the whipped cream to the cheering of 25,000 extras. All right, cue the mountain. Cue the Air Force. Cue the maraschino cherry. Okay, 25,000 cheering extras. Now, you want to try that on television?
Well...
You see, radio is a very special medium because it stretches the imagination.
Doesn't television stretch the imagination?
Up to 27 inches, yes.
She was born in a humble shack amidst the lemon groves of Goleta, California.
Mommy, don't cry. You know what they say?
When life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
I was gonna say life sucks, and then you die. But I like yours better.
And with that, Alexandra Johnson launched her lemonade stand.
Lemonade, nickel a glass.
Every day, even during the frigid California winters, a bone-chilling 72 degrees, you could find her.
You can have it sour, you can have it sweet. Little girl's lemonade will knock you off your feet.
The little girl with the sour brew wanted more, national distribution, franchises, and so she rolled out a well-budgeted advertising campaign.
Me and the rest of the dock-workers only drink little girl lemonade.
She was made president of the International Sour Drink Association and chosen to give the keynote speech at their convention.
You all set with words of wisdom, honey?
You know what they say, Mommy.
Always advertise so consumers think of your product first?
I was gonna say never swallow a lemon seed or a watermelon on your tummy.
This fabricated but interesting story is to remind you that it's called advertising and it works.
Put your message on this national advertising platform by emailing classicradiotheater@gmail.com. classicradiotheater@gmail.com. On Sunday's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, an episode of the Four-Star Playhouse, starring Rosalind Russell, Paradise, USA, from 73 years ago, September 10th, 1949, a comedy romance involving an actress and an artist. Jeff Chandler appears, billed as his birth name, Ira Grossel. That's coming up on Sunday's Classic Radio Theater, but right now the conclusion of the Adventures of Philip Marlowe, 73 years ago, September 10th, 1949.
Now with our star, Gerald Mohr, we return to the second act of Philip Marlowe and tonight's story, The Rustin Hickory.
When the whirling pinwheels of light slowed down to being street lamps again, Douglas Tobin had pounded shoe leather on enough sidewalk to be safely out of sight. But it took a full minute of rubbing the bruise where his pistol had glanced off my head before I finally remembered that it was a good time to call Joan. I looked back at Irmgard Fury's house first and saw the lights still on, the cream-colored convertible still parked in front, and all apparently quiet inside. So I limped as far as the phone booth on the corner. I warned my client that the trick we'd pulled on the frog wouldn't hold up forever. But instead I found out just how far this side of forever it had collapsed.
Yeah, hello.
Hello? Hey, what number is this?
Well, Shamus, you got the right number, Shamus.
What are you doing there? Where's Joan Rustin?
Oh, the babe's here, but she ain't in much of a mood to talk. Incidentally, thanks for giving me this free time, Dippy.
What are you talking about?
That fast shuffle you tossed me, Dippy. That now you see her, now you don't gag with the taxi. For an old shell game operator like me, that one was as tough to see through as a glass-bottomed boat.
All right. You get your diploma in the morning. But listen, you, if anything happens to Miss Rustin, I'll break you.
Skip it, Dippy. You're wasting your breath. It's already happened. I'll see you around. So long. Oh.
Joan, come on, baby. Come on, snap out of it.
Stay away from me.
Hey.
Get out of here.
Hey, hold it. It's me, Joni, Marlowe.
Marlowe.
Yeah.
Oh, Marlowe.
Come on, honey. What happened? Are you hurt, Joan?
That man, the one with the gruff voice.
Yeah?
He forced his way in here, Marlowe. He was looking for something. I tried to stop him. I was going to scream, but I guess that's when he put the bite on me.
That slug, baby.
Well, anyway, he hit me hard. And I've never been treated that way before in my whole life.
You've never been buddies with murder before, either. Come on, honey. Get up off the floor, huh? Easy now. There. Hey, he turned your place inside out, too, didn't he? What was he after, Joni?
Oh, I don't know. He just told me to quit stalling and hand it over. I didn't know what he meant, so he shoved me. Then he pulled out all the books there, tore up the rugs.
He was looking for something small and flat like a... Wait a minute. Sure. The cops found a negative near Aubrey Nickel tonight, but it was worthless. There must have been another one, an important one. And Lacey and Froggy, who no doubt's his helm babe, must think you've got it.
Me? Well, that's impossible. All I had was my picture, and, well, I don't even have that now.
No, but I do, out in my car, and it gives me a great idea. Come on.
Well, where, Marlowe? I don't get it. What's my photograph got to do with this?
Maybe plenty. You see, when Aubrey printed that picture of you, he faded out the background almost completely. You remember?
Uh-huh.
That's a stunt in fashion photography to make a subject stand out. But in this case, Joan, I figure it was played strictly in reverse.
How do you mean?
That Aubrey took you to Cyrano's tonight on business, big business. And you were holding the merchandise for him all the way. Here, let's take a look.
Oh, Marlowe, my pretty picture frame.
Better this than your pretty head later, sweetheart, believe me. Yeah, here it is. Look, see? A negative the size of a postage stamp. But I'll bet old flash bulbs the $10 bills this baby's really loaded.
Marlowe, I'll bet that baby's loaded, too.
What are you talking about?
The gun in that man's hand there behind you.
Oh, fine.
Wait. Easy, Marlowe. I'm not looking for any more trouble. I just want to be sure that you'll help me first. You're a private detective. I searched you before, so I know. I'm in a jam. It's worse than I figured. The cops are after me for murder.
No kidding. I can't understand it, Tobin. All you got is a motive deep enough to swim in, and you've been dropping clues like Hansel and Gretel drop pebbles.
All right, but I didn't do it. Well, I beat up Cy Nestor, sure, but he was going with Helen, my Helen. I hated everything and everybody in this phony town because they took her away from me. Even changed her name for her, Irmgard Fury. But I didn't kill Nestor. I swear I didn't. You've got to help me, Marlowe.
With that 38 in your fist, are you asking or telling?
Oh, I'm asking, brother. Here, take it. Take the gun. I'm in a fix and I know it.
Okay, hothead. I'm already in Dutch for hiding Matthew's key witness here. Think how I'll look keeping his chief suspect under wraps, too. Yet, oh, maybe I'm a sucker, but I believe you. All right, where do you hang your hat?
The Country Cottages, number 7. It's a kind of a motel court down on Melrose Street.
Number 7. Now go there and stay out of sight. And I mean stay out of sight.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Marlowe. Say, I'm sorry I batted you down tonight.
That makes a lot of difference to the lump on my head. Go on, Tobin, beat it.
Okay.
I'll keep in touch with you.
And where are we going, Marlowe?
Call a friend of mine. We need a big enlargement of a small negative.
Chronicle Photo Lab, Sherman speaking.
Hiya, Shermy. This is Phil Marlowe.
No kidding. Gee, how's business, Phil? Long time no see.
Yeah, I know. Now, look, are you busy? I got a job that's right down your alley, Sherman. It's important.
What is it, Marlowe?
Well, it's a 35-millimeter negative. I want it blown up to about half as big as a house.
Okay, bring it in.
I can't. I've got to check a couple of other things at the same time. Now, look, Shermy, can you meet me at the Aubrey Nickel studio on the Strip in about 10 minutes? Back door?
Wait a minute, back door?
Yeah.
How come the back door, Phil?
So we can kick it in without attracting too much attention. Shermy, I'll see you in 10 minutes. I piled Joan into the car, drove down the Strip, and once past Nickel studio, which was enough. Joan had posed for a picture in front of the place, and directly across the street, behind her, just as I knew it had to be, was the neat plastic sign reading Cy Nestor Enterprises on the diminutive but glossy imitation Swiss chalet where Nestor's body had been found. We turned double back through the alley and found Sherman bobbing up and down like a nervous gopher. 5 minutes of not-so-subtle persuasion got us past the lock and inside Aubrey's studio where something else checked. The walls were practically papered with pictures of Irmgard Fury, taken from every conceivable angle, including some that were not. Things were beginning to make a lot of sense.
Marlowe, is this all right? Coming in here, I mean, sort of uninvited and all.
It's breaking and entering, lady. You can get 5 years for it. I sure hope you know what you're doing, Phil.
Yeah, this must be the dark room. Yeah. Now, here's a negative, Shermy. Do your stuff.
What do you really expect to find on the film, Marlowe?
A murderer, baby. It's got to go one of two ways. Douglas Tobin for jealousy or Ham Lacey for ambition. Aubrey Nickel caught one of the two in the background when he took your picture. And he was familiar enough with all parties concerned over there to think he could put the screws on somebody. How's it coming, Shermy?
Be out in a minute. 15 by 20, okay?
Yeah, it's good. If there isn't a man in the background, I'll eat it.
Then you better get the salt and pepper, pal, because it's nothing but a car. See?
It can't be. Oh, brother, that's more than a car, Shermy. It's a yellow convertible that belongs to Ham Lacey. Look, you can even see the license, 6969X.
696. Oh, now how do you suppose...
What's the matter, Marlowe?
I just thought of something. Without this picture, both Tobin and Lacey are suspects. But with it, we have proof Lacey is implicated. That means Lacey thinks he has Tobin sitting in the perfect frame, right where he wants him.
Oh, Marlowe, listen.
Now, look, you two get out of here. Go back to the paper. I've got to get to Tobin fast and let him know.
Oh, Phil, listen,
Look, baby, you're no doubt terrific in the 3rd grade. But some things they don't even teach in college are going to pop any minute, so I'll take it from here, huh? Stick with Shermy, honey. I'll call you.
Oh, but Marlowe, wait,
I made it from the Strip down to Melrose and then east to the cluster of dusty lean-tos with bath known as country cottages in something under 10 minutes. Parked down the street and cut back through the alley on foot. I got to the door of cottage number 7 with about 30 seconds to spare.
Now, wait a minute, mister. You got me wrong.
Oh, no, I haven't, pal. You can tell me you didn't knock off Cy Nestor, and I'll believe you. Nobody else will. I've got you right where I want you.
Now, wait a minute.
Because of your note found in Nestor's pocket. You're the jilted boyfriend, the hick from back home, who came to Hollywood with murder in your heart and knocked off the guy who stole your wife.
Now, look,
yeah, and then you went after the cheap photographer who gave her stuff.
Oh, yeah?
And after that, you knew you couldn't escape, so you blew your brains out. And by the time I leave here, that's the way it's going to look.
Not tonight, Ham. Yeah, stand still, Lacey. Toss the gun over on the bed. Go on. That's better. So you figured Aubrey was lying about having a picture that pegged you as Cy Nestor's killer, didn't you? You figured Aubrey saw something but had no proof, so you shot him. But you were wrong, Ham. He had all the proof we need.
What's that? Joan, who's out there?
Oh, Phil.
Joan.
Phil.
Joan, are you all right?
I hit her. She's the one who killed Cy Nestor. I tried to tell you that. I followed you here to tell you, but instead I saw her with a gun pointed at you. I grabbed the first thing I saw, this broken rake handle, and I hit her with it. I hit her awfully hard, Phil. She isn't moving. You don't think she's...
Dead? No. She's probably thinking over the big lesson you just taught her with that stick there.
Why? What's the matter?
8 each. You know what that rake handle's made of?
Why, it's hickory, isn't it?
Yeah. What else could it possibly be but a hickory stick?
All right, Marlowe, all right. Nobody can hear us. Now, what is it?
Well, it's that Miss Rustin here is a school teacher, Matthews, and it's imperative that we keep her name out of this.
Oh, well, we can arrange that.
Oh, good. You know, Matthews, it's funny how one step leads to another.
Yeah?
Ham Lacey never would have gone so far as to kill Nestor on his own. But when he learned that Irmgard had done it, he saw an opportunity to turn the whole situation to his advantage. He and the girl agreed to frame Tobin and then go along as a team.
You know, of course, that that's just your theory.
Just a minute.
Now,
What do
sit
you
down
mean?
over there and be quiet for a change while Miss Rustin and I wind this up.
Matthews, listen.
Now, quiet, please.
Pulling rank, huh?
Phil. Now, Miss Rustin, in solving this case...
Just a minute. She didn't solve the case. I...
Miss Rustin, if you hadn't solved it, and right when you did, you'd be talking to this guy exclusively via Ouija board from now on, let's face it.
Oh, what a corny pitch.
Now, tell me, Miss Rustin, how did you peg Irmgard Fury?
Well, when we got the picture of the yellow convertible, I remembered that I'd gone to the powder room at Cyrano's with Miss Fury to freshen our makeup. But she couldn't find her lipstick. She emptied her purse looking for it, and she finally had to borrow mine, you know.
Oh, how democratic.
I said that.
So now you own it? Now tell me, Miss Rustin, how do you figure the lipstick figures?
Oh, it wasn't the lipstick. I happened to notice among the things from her purse a keychain, a chain with car keys on it, and an identification tag in the form of a little license plate.
Oh, and the numbers were...
6969X.
That's right.
And since Ham Lacey had an alibi and those keys were in Miss Fury's bag, you figured it was her who'd been driving.
It was she who'd been driving, yes.
Isn't this revolting?
Yeah. She wanted to kill Nestor because he wouldn't turn loose of her so she could claw her way on up to the bitter top. And when she found him unconscious, it was easy.
How literary.
Well, that's that, I guess. Thank you very much, Miss Rustin. I hope your stay in our town has been... Well, oh, what's the matter?
Joni, baby, don't cry.
I just thought of the most dreadful thing. I've had a wonderful time. I went to Cyrano's. I hit a movie star on the head, and I helped solve a murder. But I'll never, ever be able to say one single word about it to anybody in Ferndale, Nebraska. Darn it all.
It took a few minutes to put on a new touch of mascara and get the pink off her nose, but she was smiling again when we said goodnight to Matthews and stood on the steps at headquarters and looked at the glittering lights of Hollywood. There was still plenty of time for supper and even a dance or two, and she wanted to go. But suddenly, from somewhere, there was a smell of autumn in the air, of dry leaves on the ground and ripe red apples for the teacher. She shook her head wistfully and spoke of an appointment she had bright and early next Monday morning.
It's a very important appointment, Phil.
So, I took her to a hotel and said goodbye. All the way home, for some reason, I kept wondering, whatever happened to Skinny McDonald? The only kid in school who could shoot a better spitball than Marlowe. Has it really been that long ago?
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe star Gerald Mohr and are transcribed and directed by Norman MacDonald. Script is by Mel Donnelly, Robert Mitchell, and Gene Levitt. The special music is composed and conducted by Richard Arant.
There you have it from 73 years ago today, September 10th, 1949, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. There you can stream our shows on demand. You can learn more about classic radio collecting. You can find all of our social media links. You can find information about podcast sites that have our shows available for download so you can listen to them at your leisure. And if you like what we do, you can also buy me a coffee. That Buy Me a Coffee link will help you help me, I should say, in acquiring new great classic radio collections to bring to you here. And if you want to start building your collection, contact Ted at radiomemories.com. That's radiomemories.com. He supplies programs not only on computers, flash drives, but also on cassette and CD, and there are not a lot of places that still do cassettes. That's at radiomemories.com, radiomemories.com. Please thank this radio station and support their advertisers. It is their kindness and courtesy that allow us to be with you each and every Saturday here on your favorite stations. Support them very much because the federal government's trying to raise the fees that these stations have to pay to bring shows to you. So please help them and support them. And please tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station. Have a great Saturday.